Break, and if you just tune in, the program is still Good Morning Abuja, coming to you from the Unity Station NTA Channel 5 Abuja. And that feature you've just watched now sets a tune for this discussion and to take us further and deeper into pest control and management. We have an agro-allied pest expert with us this morning to do justice to that. Help us welcome Mr. Abari Terungwa to the program. Mr. Barry, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Good
Thank
morning and welcome on the show.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good morning, the audience, too.
So this morning we want to talk about pest control and management, most especially that we are celebrating or marking World Pest Day today. Now, let's start this way. What is integrated pest management, and how does it differ from the traditional form of management?
Once again, thank you so much for having me. Integrated pest management, abbreviated as IPM, it's a multi-pronged approach to pest management that takes into practice commonsensical activities, and it's quite sustainable and environmental friendly. Essentially, that's what integrated pest management is about. Instead of having just one approach fits all, we have a variety of ways that we adopt in controlling pest solutions that are sustainable and that are environmental friendly and are more proactive.
Okay.
That's what IPM is about.
Just to get things into the proper context, I would like us to understand what do we even mean by pest. When we talk about pest, what is pest? What do we, in some places, in some settings or its application, what could be considered pest is actually something that is useful to the ecosystem or the soil or the environment. So how do we classify pest or define it?
Yes, a lot of people get a bit rattled about that. A pest is not a pest for what it is. A pest is a pest for what it does. So, depending on how you behave, you might not be a pest here, but you might be a pest in a different context. A pest is any living organism that irritates, causes nuisance, or causes some economic setback to human activity. That's a pest. And an organism is not a pest because of what it is. It is a pest because of what it does. So, like he rightly said, honeybees. Let's look at honeybees.
Okay.
Honeybees are one of the very economically important insects to human beings. Some of the plants we eat cannot be pollinated by any other insect apart from honeybees.
Yes.
But when a bee comes in here and stings you,
it's a pest.
it becomes a pest. So a pest is any living organism that causes some irritation or nuisance or economic setback or transmits diseases to human beings.
Okay. Now that we've known the differences and what it does here and there, let's take our discussion further. What are the common pests found in agricultural setting, and what damage do they cause?
Well, pest in agriculture is, in fact, it's one of the key sensitive areas in human existence. And broadly, there are four categories of pests you find in agriculture. You have the vertebrate pest. And when we talk about vertebrates, I'm sure in common biology, we know that any organism that has a backbone is called a vertebrate. So you have the vertebrate pests like squirrels, like rodents, that sort of
eat our cassava.
Or destroy our products. And that's huge. Look, rodents alone are capable of destroying 1/3 of the world food production, either through eating it or through contaminating it. When you see a rodent in your rice with all the feces, the rice is contaminated. It's not fit for human consumption again, so it's lost. So you have the vertebrate pest and you have the invertebrate pests, which are many. That's the insects. The insects don't have a backbone, but they contribute a lot in agricultural destruction. You have the weevils, the butterflies, and so many other insects that are locusts. And then you have the plants. The one we call weeds. We plant our fields, we fertilize it at times, and instead of the crops coming up as we want, the unwanted plants that were not there planted by us take up all the fertilizer and grow so robustly and diminish the yields.
Yeah.
Finally, you have the fungi, the bacteria, and that also contaminate our, infect our agricultural products. Those are the four broad categories of agricultural pests. And look, pest control in agriculture is really, really very critical because at different stages of the agricultural food chain, right from the planting through the growing through the harvesting, almost half of what we produce is lost
Mm.
through pests.
Okay. Pest in itself is something that we have managed through the years through traditional means. Why do we need to develop this modern approach to pest control? Is it that the traditional way of managing pests was not sufficient?
Yes, as mankind evolves, innovations come about and better way of doing things keep on coming. Like I said, and you rightly put it, the food shortage is of very utmost importance to mankind. And initially, the initial farmer really didn't know what to do. So his strategy was, okay, let's produce as much as we can, and I take it that some are going to be eaten by pests. So there was nothing to do about pests. But through the times, mankind has developed ways of dealing with pests. And the traditional way was the application of pesticides.
Yes.
Application of pesticides. I mean, there are some pesticides are substances that can repair or destroy or kill pests in an environment. So mankind developed that, and practically chemical pesticides became so prevalent. However, it was noticed that, look, chemicals, we have a big concern about the environment. In 1962, an American biologist called Rachel Carson wrote a book about the silent spring. And the book essentially was what the effect of chemicals on in the environment was. Even the non-intended organisms were being destroyed because of the use of chemicals. For example, if I used a very toxic chemical and kill insects, and the birds come and eat the insects that are killed, the birds will also be affected. And some of them have very long-term uh, life, so they don't dissolve easily in the environment. So they go into our waterways, they get assimilated by the plants, and we eat the plants. They come into us, or the cattle eat the plants, we eat the cattle. They
And
come,
cancer comes.
they come into us. So a process called bioaccumulation. So it was discovered that this was not something needs to be done. Just not the use of chemicals and chemicals and chemicals. And that gave rise to the introduction of the integrated pest management, which consider chemical usage as the last resort. There are other approaches that can be used to effectively control pests, which are the cultural, biological, physical, or mechanical, and then, if need be, the chemical approach comes in last.
Okay. Yes, the chemical approach comes in last. When you were mentioning biological, physical,
And cultural.
and cultural, well, very good. This is a very interesting topic for all of us that are farmers, right? I
Yes.
know we have something to take home. I want you to take us deeper and further on the the benefits of this, the benefit of using chemical to control our pests.
Pest control is supposed to be a proactive exercise. It's not supposed to be a fire brigade exercise in the sense that you don't have to wait until you get pests before you call the pest control professional. The ideal thing is to call the pest control professional when you don't have pests, so that he will stop pests from coming into your facility. Now, in our environment, most people don't bother about pests until they start seeing physical signs of pests. So when we get into that kind of environment, we need to get rid of that extant pest population. And that's where chemical control comes in. You need to get rid of that if you can use chemicals. But going beyond that, what you want to do is to put in measures that will really stop the pest from coming in there. And that's where this other approach is coming. The cultural approach is basically about the way we live, about the way. I mean, I was in primary school. They told us that culture is a way of life. So sometimes through our hygiene, through the way we keep our things, through the way we keep our environment, scatter our things, we make it conducive for pests to infest our area. So if we improve on our culture, on our sanitation particularly, and makes our environment tidy. That alone can discourage a lot of pests from coming to our facility.
We are in the raining season, and
Yes.
naturally, especially here in Nigeria, rains are associated with agricultural, with farming. So almost everybody who is a farmer is already in the farm, either doing one thing or the other, and this is something that we need. However, um, what is it? Are we going to say the only approach to handling this pest, because there are different types of pest, is the traditional approach of scarecrow, putting some fence, putting barricades, or things like that?
No, yeah, you mentioned some very pertinent and trite issues. There's a major concern about post-harvest losses, particularly. Almost 50% of our production is lost after harvest due to a myriad of factors, including pests, really, including not limited, but majorly pests also contribute a lot to post-harvest losses. There are certain pests that can be controlled uh, like you talk about the locusts. The locusts are actually flying insects. Not only locusts, there are some other species of bird called quail birds.
Yes, quail beds.
Once they descend on your rice plantation, it's gone. They come in millions and they migrate sometimes from outside the country, pass through our bed. So in those kind of instances, area sprays are advisable, and you have to be very particular because you want to use pesticides that are not harmful to the
Human.
owners. They are just specific. And pesticides are classified sometimes on the intended use. So you have herbicides which affect only birds, and then you have insecticides which should affect only insects. So you should be very careful in your nature of application. But post-harvest storage, really, a lot needs to be done. One, there are local ways of doing it, which is that, and in pest technology, we call that biopesticides or biological controls. I mean,
Yes.
a lot of people used some other organisms to get rid. Like you put pepper inside your beans, maybe the weevils will come. Of course, the best approach to grains control is fumigation. And fumigation is the use of a gaseous pesticides in an enclosed place, to make sure that all the pests are totally destroyed.
Okay, I know you've responded because I'm beginning to get signs. So, in a highly summarized sentence or statement, as we mark today World Pest Day today, can you quickly summarize to us on the control and especially on the management before we do?
Correct. The pest management profession is one of the best things that ever happened to mankind in terms of structural damages, in terms of what we've been focused here, food production. And the World Pest Day is a day set aside to highlight the importance of what the industry does to the lives to improve the quality of life of human beings. And it's also to create awareness. A lot of people don't know that what I do is some kind of culture, some kind of practices I make can contribute to my pest infestations. A lot of people think it's only about chemicals. No, there are so many other ways that we can contribute in controlling managing pests apart from the chemical. Chemicals are not banned. Some are not very harmful to human beings. But even the ones that are not banned, we should be very careful about the way we apply them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for your
So,
time with us this morning.
yeah, so good to have you on
Yeah.
the show,
It's a pleasure.
Abari Terroir.
Teruma.
Is we've been having this conversation talking about pest control and the different ways that we can manage the pest. The program is Good Morning Abuja, and the conversation this morning is just beginning. But first, let's take a break.